Hey, welcome to the Dropship Podcast. Today's going to be a fun one. We've got a new series we kind of thought up here of good niche, bad niche. And people are going to send in ideas and say, hey, Jon Ben, is this a good niche or a bad niche when it comes to high-ticket dropshipping? And today, I like the one that we started with, Jon. And we're going to not name names if that's cool, but send them in however you want to send them in so Jon and I can do this. The first one's automotive parts. So good niche, bad niche, automotive parts. Jon, be gentle here.
Yeah. So when we say automotive parts, we're talking about a site that just sells any parts for a vehicle, a car, truck, whatever, right? Bad idea. Bad idea. With a caveat, but a general store that sells any automotive parts like brake pads or springs or something like that, just for any vehicle, is a bad idea. So why is it a bad idea? There are a few reasons why it's a bad idea, and we'll get into the exception to this particular rule towards the end. But firstly, cars are challenging, right? Vehicles are challenging, right? One of the reasons I don't like this one, which not a lot of people realize, is that when it comes to automotive parts, and one of my first jobs was selling automotive parts in a physical store, actually. So I know a lot about this, right? Think about this. How many different makes of cars are there? Available on the market today? 50, 60? I don't know. It's a really high number, right? Now, how many models from each of those makes of cars are there? Probably each of them has 10, something like that. Now, how many different years do each of those models come in? Well, some of those models will go right back to the 60s, right? Each of those year models may have a different version of the same part.
Yeah, trim, yeah.
That fits it, right? So I've just gone through what is going to give you an exponentially complex range of different parts that are essentially the same thing, but they're actually different. They're not the same part because they're a fraction of a different size to fit that particular year model of that particular make. And that there is very little crossover between makes, models, and years when it comes to things like brake pads or springs or something like that. There is some. There's not a lot. There is a wide range of varieties. And so think about then, if you want to have an automotive parts general store that has things for everybody, how many different products you're going to have on your site. I can tell you right now, it will be in the tens of thousands. And that is a horrible thing to manage. Like, you've got to upload all those products. Are you going to optimize all those products? No, you're not. It's going to make your SEO an absolute nightmare because you're going to have about 990,000 zombie pages on your site that are just going to be adding zero value and dragging everything else you do down. How are you going to navigate your customers to all those products? You've got to hard code in a lot of stuff to make it actually possible for somebody to work out which are the parts that apply to my particular year, make, and model of car, right? It's insanely complex. I've seen people try it. It turns into a dog's breakfast. And then the next thing you get hit with is anytime you try to advertise those parts, you will get a ton of search traffic from people who are looking to buy the car, right? So if you advertise a part for, a 1990 Ford F-150 pickup truck, right? You will get a ton of search traffic of people searching 1990 F-150.
Hey, obviously you're interested in high-ticket dropshipping, wondering what you're going to sell. That's usually what people think about long before they ever purchase a course or even get started. Jon and I want to help you with that. We're running a 5-day challenge. Check it out at dropshipbreakthrough.com/5. 5 days, you'll figure out exactly what you're going to sell, and you'll be ready to start your high-ticket dropshipping journey when you're done.
They're not looking for the part, but Google will trigger your ads every time somebody searches that. And so you have to go through this really painful process of excluding all these search terms. It's super hard to get your ads profitable because of that. There's probably other reasons, but right up that idea is just a dog's breakfast.
Can you imagine trying to set up Google ads for 10,000 products?
And having to subdivide it so you can actually make sense of where every product is. Like, your campaigns would be monsters.
Yeah.
Like literal monsters. Terrible.
On this channel, Jon and I teach you to serve a person. Name one person who needs to shop for all of those things. It doesn't exist, right? So Can you niche down to find one type of person? If you can pick one part one part on the car that you can specialize in that part, you still got a fuckload of work to do to get that one part to every vehicle, every year, every model, every trim of that model. That's still going to be a nightmare. But, can you keep going? Can you take this down even further and perhaps sell one part to one type of vehicle, or serve one collector audience who are people who are looking at just one type of vehicle? That is going to give you a chance at success here, where you're not trying to serve literally the entire country.
Yeah. And that's the caveat that I mentioned in the beginning, is there are parts of this monster of a market that can work. There are high ticket products in there. Like the majority of the products in this space aren't even high ticket products to begin with. So when somebody says you should start a high ticket dropshipping store selling auto parts, it doesn't even make sense, because it's not high ticket, right? So that's the first criteria, crossed off, right? So but there are some things in there, as Ben says, for particular use cases for certain vehicles. For particular, there's collectors out there for vehicles, older vehicles maybe, who, spend a lot of money on really maybe more specialized and these days less common parts for their cars that are still produced new. Like, there are segments of this that you can break it down. And so you've still got to go through the right market research to find those and to tick the criteria to say that they're going to work. And I've definitely seen a few people build some really decent businesses, high ticket dropshipping businesses, around very specific parts of the auto industry.
I agree. I think some people, certainly we have some students who have really specialized here, and I think they have a real shot at success, or are having success already. But you can't expect to serve the entire United States for every vehicle that's ever existed, for every part that's ever existed, and expect any chance at success. The companies that are doing this are extremely well-funded, are public companies with an army of individuals that are manning this. That is just not a place I would recommend starting.